staple of the urban landscape, graffiti has dotted the sides of buildings and train cars since its explosion in the 1970s. Since then, many people have asked the question, is graffiti vandalism or art? But before we explore the answer, I'm going to give you a very brief history of graffiti. Graffiti dates back to ancient Roman times. Declarations of love, Latin swear words, and caricatures of popular political figures survived in Pompeii after the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Graffiti itself, however, would not really take off until the 1970s when popular taggers started spraying their names everywhere, trying their hardest to be the most prominent name seen along city streets and subway lines. As the years went on and the cities fought back, graffiti gradually expanded and evolved into what it is today. And so we return to our main question. Is graffiti closer to an art form or vandalism?
In certain areas, I think that it could be considered art, and in certain areas, I think that it could be considered vandalism.
I think it depends on what is on or what is being graffitied. If it's something like very crude, I consider that graffiti. But if it's something like that's not meant in a hurtful way or like mean, then I think that might be art.
For the most part, I really feel that there should be areas where it's allowed to be done. And, I really don't think that there's enough because it is an art form.
I guess it depends. For me, I say most of the graffiti I've seen is a form of art. It is also legally vandalism.
Well, graffiti is vandalism. If we look at the actual act of doing graffiti, there is an inherent political content to graffiti in the fact that people were forced to express themselves by taking over space, by appropriating the public sphere, by saying, I'm here with these big, bold, beautiful expressions of themselves. Embedded in the name, embedded in the styles that they develop, they are saying not only here, but who I am. How interesting am I? How dominant am I? How dominant are we as a collective group, as graffiti artists, that we've sort of taken over, in a sense, that we will not go away, that you cannot squash our spirit, our creative spirit, is the vandalism aspect of graph. And if you take that out, if you make it legitimate all of a sudden, if you say, hey, it's okay, graffiti will find a way to find a space that will be a vandalistic endeavor.
I've also seen tons of examples of kids who don't have who are doing it out of disrespect or something too, and it's not interesting to look at. It's just blue spray paint, I think that says like either a tag or says screw the system or some stupid thing like that. So I mean it's across the board, but I think most of the graffiti that's out there where those graffiti artists would identify themselves as graffiti artists, I would agree with they're artists.
There is no easy way to define art, and that's what makes art such a wonderful thing. I think it's the core human need to leave a mark. That's what I call art. It's the natural urge to feed the need to say, I am here. And this is how I'm going to represent that I am here. I'm going to make this. I'm going to pull something into existence that wasn't there before.
If the graffiti artist has an agenda to make a beautiful piece of art, then even though it's in, let's say, graffiti style or vernacular style, I feel like it's, it fits perfectly well with a museum or gallery. But I also love stumbling across it in real space. I think my gut instinct is to shy away from the gallery and museum co-opting the work, and when I've seen it, I always feel like it's inauthentic in a way.
So graph really isn't graph if it's done in your sketchbook or on a canvas and put in a gallery. It's not the same thing. So I don't know. I don't think that there's a clear line between art and vandalism. I don't think that's a kind way to put a relationship. Is it art? Is it vandalism? It's art that is vandalism.